Hello, hello. Welcome to this workshop on understanding and addressing the domestic abuse. In honor of the Mental Health Awareness Month, whether you have been in an abusive relationship or in a married relationship, going through confusions on your relationship challenges, or in an open relationship or looking for a new relationship, today I'm going to equip with a specific skills that can help you to understand, address, and heal the traumas in your abusive relationship or to challenge the traumas in your abusive relationship and to live a fuller, healthier life with a loving relationship. So, this skills which I'm going to teach you is around a specific framework, a nurture framework, which I'm going to reveal you inside the workshop. First, I would like to thank you all for being present here in this workshop, taking your precious time and making important your relationship as a priority and your mental health, which is linked to it. So, my heartfelt thank you for being here. And please introduce yourself from which part of your world. And in the chat box, put your name and the place from where you are. And let me introduce myself by sharing the screen. So this workshop, as I earlier mentioned, understanding and addressing domestic abuse, more focused into the relationship challenges and abusive relationship challenges and how to address that. And as it is a mental health awareness month, Teletherapy is hosting this workshop, and as a fundraiser for CCP, which is Caring for Communities and People, a charity in Gloucestershire. So I hope that the education session is going to provide you with more informative and supportive tools to deal with your relationship issues and challenges. And also, I would like your kind, generous donation to our fundraising to CCP. So let me introduce myself now. I'm Devi Sundar, founder and director of Teletherapies, and my professional background is respiratory physiotherapy and psychotherapy for over 22 years. And I've dedicated my skill set to multiple settings in clinical, in hospitals, and in research settings and university settings, contributing my skills and knowledge to people. And I also produce some researches and some books, and some of the books available in Amazon, like the Breathe Better, Unleashing Your Confidence, and the Resilience Toolkit, and Sleep Better workbook. So my mission is only to empower you with tools that will help you to ignite your inner potential to live a happier and fulfilling life. And today's mission in this workshop is to make you aware that your mind is connected to your emotions and how your behavioral patterns is connected to your emotion, which is impacting the way you see and live your relationship. So that's going to be the workshop today. So, as a speaker and facilitator of this workshop today, myself, I'm going to teach you a unique framework, as I already mentioned, nurture framework. Nurture framework, as you can see that, it's nurturing your healthy dynamics in your relationship, setting healthy boundaries in your relationship, respecting autonomy in your relationship, and fostering trusting communication, open communication by upholding equality, recognizing trauma, and empowering choices. And you know all of this to a greater extent, but how you do it, and that's something which we are going to explore in this session. Um, so, why you should listen to me? It's a very important question I need to answer. So, at Teletherapies, as I introduced myself as the founder and director of Teletherapies, we focus and understand there is a vital connection between our mind and lung. And whenever there is a relationship challenges, there is actually impact on your respiratory rate, heart rate, and other organ systems in your body. So we are going to talk through that in our following slides, but we deliver a vital connection of the mind and lung therapies to individuals, businesses, schools, and university, and with a specific set of tools to empower them with some resilience and how to go through the practical challenges in their practical life. And that's what we more focus on, empowering them with a set of tools for their well-being. And also, our approach is a holistic approach, so we don't go by like yeah, this is a healthcare facility. We actually have a holistic approach where we connect the mind, body, and spirit. So it's all a holistic approach we incorporate in our therapy services. And as I mentioned earlier, these are the books that's listed in the Amazon. You can go and explore at a later time in your convenient time. And why you should listen further to support your question. People do talk about us in a good way and have benefited from therapy. And especially Andrew came up with multiple problems in his life, and he felt that he had taken therapies before outside, and but he felt that therapy with myself had given him some tools that is actually helping him to see some positive changes, and he is happy with the set of therapies which he's taking. And that's given in January 2024. And in August 2023, there is another review given to our therapy services, and where in the past I provided some support, therapy support to BetterHelp platform, and one of the clients over there had provided that Devi is a wonderful active listener, patient, and empathetic. And so, as a therapist, I do believe that a therapist should provide a holistic approach, and that comes through by actively listening to the clients and to understand them from their issues, and also the issues what the client was coming with to me is concerns about depression, stress, anxiety, relationship issues, grief, intimacy related issues, self esteem, and coping with life changes. So the client was able to perceive a positive change with the therapy. Another similar review was given in February 2022. The issues addressed over there in that client is anxiety, relationship issues, trauma and abuse, grief, sleeping disorder, self esteem, anger management. So, with that being said, I can actually assure you that I can provide a valuable and informative and evidence based resources in the following slide. And so, the agenda today in understanding and addressing the domestic abuse is understanding what is domestic abuse, highlighting the prevalence and impact of domestic abuse, and psychology of domestic abuse, how our mind works, how our body responds. That's something which I'm going to explore more in depth, and then followingly introduce you to the nurture framework, which I promised, with the strategies, evidence based strategies in it, and how to support the victims if your friend or a colleague has shared domestic abuse with you, how you need to provide support for them. So these are the things we are going to cover in the following slides in the next 60 minutes. So, a quick team check in. I hope that you're all calm, and I believe so. And so let's get a check in on that. So 15 seconds. If you could look at the scale on the slide and look at the numbers of the emotional scale, and note down in a piece of paper to yourself, or put it in the chat box if you're more happy to do that. So put that in the chat box. And 15 seconds, it's close to 55 seconds now. Great, thank you for that. Now, let's move on to this icebreaker questionnaire. Yeah, I didn't want to jump into the details immediately, but I want you to give us little warm-up exercises to your brain. Yeah, so look at the question: what is one quality or strength you bring to your relationship that you feel proud of? 15 seconds. If you're happy to put on the chat box. And now we move on to the next one. If you answered one of these, pat your back. Yeah. So if you've answered, I'm a good listener and provide emotional support to my partner. I'm very patient and understanding, which helps in resolving conflict peacefully. I'm very patient and understanding, which helps in resolving conflict peacefully. Sorry, that's repeated twice. I'm reliable and always there when someone needs me. I'm good at communicating openly and honestly about my feelings. I'm supporting my partner's goal and dream. I'm respectful of my partner's boundaries and make sure to foster mutual relationship in my relationship, mutual respect in my relationship. I bring a sense of humor that helps lighten difficult moments. I'm proactive in resolving issues before they escalate. So if you have answered one of this or some other positive response, then you're in track to support the nurture framework already. So now I'm going to give you another challenge before we go into the big details. So 10 seconds for this. Identify the words on the screen. Yeah, we have run over the time there. So I'm going to reveal the answers now. Humanness, courage. Yeah. So if you got it right, again, pat your back. Now, let's jump into the real topic, domestic abuse. When this topic actually comes across, many people actually mix up and imagine, exaggerate to greater degree, and also get fixed in the idea domestic abuse might relate to physical violence. But a few of them actually aware that domestic abuse is not only limited to physical violence, it's also to emotional, financial, sexual, and psychological manipulations. So, domestic abuse covers the broader aspect. So, according to the study published in the Journal of Interpersonal Violence, approximately 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence, sexual violence, or injury, or stalking, or post traumatic stress disorder, use victim services, or contract sexually transmitted disease. So, this is a wider range, and it is not only a personal issue or the problem, it is actually exposed to a global, national, and a community problem. So, looking into the prevalence and the impact, globally, the research actually reveals that millions of people are affected with domestic violence or domestic abuse, sorry, and which includes domestic violence as well. And it has a significant impact on the social, economic, and health consequences. And the study in the UK government actually reveals in England and Wales alone, domestic abuse, the cost of dealing with domestic abuse in 2017 to 2018 is 66 billion. And it includes the costs related to the physical and mental health services, criminal justice interventions, housing support, and lost economic output. So you can see how the domestic abuse is a very universal problem, not a personal problem. So Safe Lives is a charity in UK, which is actually supporting people with experience domestic abuse, and the report by that actually confirms that every year nearly 2 million people in UK experience domestic abuse. 7 women a month are killed by a current or a former partner in England and Wales. Victims experience 2 years on average of domestic abuse before they could seek help because of those confusions and hope for change. And 53% experience multiple types of abuse. And also, they conducted a study with Gento, it is actually a housing association, where approximately 13% of all the repair jobs and 21% of the repair cost was related to the domestic abuse, costing Gento 8.4 million, and cost associated with the tenants evicting the tenants, that is projected to be 5,700 per eviction, and per perpetrator the support services provided is projected to be 330 per perpetrator. So this is a huge impact on the economy of the nation as a whole. So I've in detail made a video how to identify the signs of abuse, domestic abuse especially, and how to differentiate between abuse and violence. And this is you have to watch this video to get those information on the signs, how to recognize that, the behavioral and the physical indicators. And it's in the YouTube channel, Breathe Thrive with Devi. So you can watch at your leisure time. So I'm going to go into how our mind works in terms of domestic abuse. What is really domestic abuse? So in a domestic abuse, it is actually a power imbalance. Yeah, power and control imbalance, where a person actually inflicts a physical or emotional abuse to a person, and then they are left in a confusion or a hope for change, because within that incident there is also at the other side of the incident where the intermittent positive behaviors are shown between the partners, where a partner actually reconciles, calms down, and this leads to another partner to be in a confused state, hoping for change. Yeah, so we are all humans, we are all actually to some degree or a greater degree very in the scale of empathy and kindness, and we are left in this confusion mode whether there is going to be a change. Yeah, and so as the report also confirms earlier, on average the victims actually stay in that abusive relationship for over 2 years. Now, what are the psychological effects on the victims because of the domestic abuse? Trauma and PTSD. All these traumatic incidences, like the physical or emotional manipulation, our brain is actually running a constant diagnostic every time, whether you're in your own safe home, but who are you with? What is the relation people in the relationship perceive you as or treat you how you would like to be treated? So those are all the diagnostics running in your mind when you're in a relationship. Just feel the relationship is safe and the person is safe and trustworthy. So though if that is not happening, your brain actually registers those memories in your emotional center, and that comes as a flashbacks or nightmares and anxiety, depression. So those are all the emotional memories that register in your brain, leading to PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And second one is learned helplessness. Because you're in this cycle, you're learning this pattern, and not the cycle of confusion, hoping for change, that leads to learned helplessness. And also, to some degree, in some relationship, there is actually a control, excessive control, and a fear of lack of assertiveness. So they are not able to stand up for themselves. So they would like to be in the control relationship, perceiving it as a known, predictable environment rather than going out of the relationship. So there is a to greater degree learned helplessness and loss of self identity and low self worth as a result of the known environment and comfort zone which they perceive as, and but still they feel that the person is not treating well, and they doubt themselves. If there is a gaslighting or emotional manipulation, that's something what is happening in the relationship. The person is losing their self identity if they're going to stay longer with a person who is not going to respect their emotions, boundaries, or value them as a individual. When you look into the profiles of the preparators, in most cases, even in my practice, it's the person has an insecure attachment style. Yeah, so the insecure attachment style, always actually anxious or avoidant, either one of the patterns, and execute excessive control over the other partner to avoid them, in a sense, believing that if they act like that, the person will not leave them. But it is going to be backfiring that thought or belief in them. The other person might be having a different perception of what they are treating, and they are not feeling good, which this person is actually insensitive to understand the other person's feeling, where to greater degree it plays around the emotional intelligence, becoming aware of self and also aware of the person around them. And the second profile is narcissistic, more giving importance to the self, lacking kindness, empathy, and that leads to a lot of conflicts. And the narcissistic people might also be more aggressive, and that might also lead to more of physical violence category. And then the antisocial, the person again is more impulsive, and that leads to aggressive behavior and leading to violence, physical violence, or greater degree emotional injuries to the people, which is not compatible relationships there. So, what is our mind psychology? How is our mind working in this? I want you to take you through analogy here to the car and our brain. Our brain is not, I'm not going to talk about the left brain or the right brain here, but I'm going to talk about the conscious mind and subconscious mind, which is a greater degree helping us to execute the functions, the actions, whatever we are doing in our daily life. Okay, that's the main minds working, two minds working. So the conscious mind is the prefrontal cortex, a thinking mind, and a subconscious mind is the limbic brain or feeling brain. Yeah, and the limbic brain. When I say the limbic brain, the three main structures: the amygdala, hippocampus, and hypothalamus. These are all actually included there. And if you look at the car, yeah, the driver is responsible. If you're driving a car, the driver is responsible to take the wherever you wanted to drive to, whatever speed you wanted to maintain. And in terms of, it has a kind of thinking that it has a control over all of those things. But if the other engines, automatic systems, are not functioning, the driver cannot function in any way, turn around, or drive to the places where he actually goes. So the same principle is applied to your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Yeah. So whenever there is actually some kind of emotional manipulation or financial or sexual or physical threat in the relationship, your mind observes and assesses the threat. Yeah. How to respond, whether to call for help or de escalate the situation. And it starts as a thinking brain is more into rational and strategizing action plans, problem solving. So it will actually thinking into whether to avoid this or to escape from this problem. And the rationalizing or the processing part of the frontal cortex, prefrontal cortex, makes you sense of the abuse, questioning why it is happening and what can be done. Yeah, these are all the thoughts which is actually running if you are in the situation of abuse. Yeah, and then the message is then over influenced by your subconscious mind, which is your limbic brain there, which is making decisions like a car, making decisions where to go and when to stop, how to drive fast or slow. There is a fight, flight, or freeze response, which I've spoken in many of my previous workshops there. And by this time, like the fight or the flight or the freeze response is activated by our wirings in our brain. That's the sympathetic, which is keeping us active and impulsive actions, and the parasympathetic, which is calm and digest action. So those two nervous system goes into imbalance. Yeah, and those traumatic memories are then stored and leading to chronic stress responses or instinctive behaviors, how to respond to the situation. Yeah, so I hope it makes sense. So this is how our mind works or responds to any of the abusive situations in the relationships. So as I mentioned, how our body responds to this in acute situations, the fight flight responses, which impacts our heart rate, blood pressure, and our respiratory rate, and increased surge in the primary stress hormone, the cortisol in our body, and a freeze response dissociates and shuts down, doesn't do anything. Yeah, immobilized in the situation, not able to take any action. And in chronic stress responses, which due to the abusive patterns of behavior from the partners, it impacts the body and increase the blood pressure, the hypertension, heart disease, stroke, decrease in immunity, or gut issues. Yeah, and physically, this is actually again the gut issues, immunity is impacted, and the stroke. All of these issues, which is actually reflected as due to the chronic stress as a physical ailments there and illnesses, and the mental disorder like PTSD, depression, anxiety, addiction as a result of the patterns of behavior, threats experienced in the relationship. And more so, our brain structure is responding by change in their structure and the function due to the threats or the abusive relationship if it's ongoing. The neurotransmitters are all actually imbalanced in our brain, and that leads to disruption in the mood and cognitive disorders, and overall function of the brain is disrupted. Yeah, as a result, there is a poor decision making skills, and you become more impulsive in your action, either going to the two extremes, whether you become impulsive and take quick action, or whether you just shut down and don't take any action. Yeah, and also it impacts your behavior, and has a greater degree of social impact, where you feel isolated. Yeah, feelings of shame, fear, or mistrust with others. You have difficulties in forming new relationship. You are left out with who to trust. Yeah, and the relationship struggles, as I mentioned, due to the past trauma, and self-destructive behaviors like the self-harm or reckless driving or unsafe sexes or addictive behaviors. These are all the self-destructive behaviors that will lead to if you're in a long-term abusive relationship. So, coming back to, as promised, the unique framework of nurture to how to nurture a healthy relationship is by setting boundaries, healthy boundaries, respecting autonomy. These two can be maintained, having a healthy dynamics in the relationship, and fostering trusting communication, upholding equality in the relationship, recognizing trauma of your partner, and empowering the choices of your partner. So these are all the major components that is actually going to help you to nurture and thrive in a healthy relationship dynamics. Yeah, a report by Safe Lives, a UK-based domestic charity, which I already mentioned earlier, it says that these are all the kind of ingredients required to thrive a healthy relationship. Yeah, and also for a long term positive outcomes for survivors, and trainings in these components. Each of these components have a set of skills, human skills, to be developed. And if anyone is struggling to speak up, or anyone is actually aggressive in the relationship, not treating the partner well. And these are a set of skills they have to learn to unlearn the habits or the behaviors which they are implementing in their relationship, and feeling that is it is a problem of the other person, not them. Yeah. So let's go in detail. So when it comes to the understanding your healthy dynamics and what is unhealthy dynamics, the important thing is trust, respect, communication, and supportive of your partner's feelings. Yeah, a research published in the Journal of Marriage and Family indicates that nurturing a healthy dynamics promotes emotional well-being and reduces the risk of abusive relationship. So, how do you identify unhealthy dynamics in the relationship? If there is excessive control in the form of physical or sexual or emotional or financial, then it is it is alarm bell should ring in your mind. This is this right partner, or is my partner's behavior right? Am I in a safe zone? Yeah. And if there is any emotional manipulation, lack of respect, yeah. So everyone, if two people are coming into a relationship, it's similar to two people working together in a work environment in a team. Yeah. So if each one is not respecting each other, there is going to be conflict. Yeah. And the team, the survival of the team dynamics is not going to be there. So relationship, a romantic relationship, is a, like similar to a team dynamic. Yeah. So these are the signs to indicate alarm whether you have a good team dynamics with your partner. So research from the UK Government Office for National Statistics indicate domestic abuse related in reports to the police have increased in recent years, and especially during the pandemic. There's a higher degree of increase in the domestic abuses, where two people were having no other option but have spent longer time with each other, and that revealed more of their size, personality traits, how each one can cope with the other. And now, setting boundaries. When it comes to setting boundaries, how you respect your partner's personal space, how you set emotional limits. Yeah, and sometimes jokes can be demeaning, and you might actually push it down to a degree that it is a joke, and but it is going to be lingering in your mind, questioning whether it's a joke. If that's the case, then open communication is needed in the relationship, and whether your partner's behavior towards you is acceptable, the way your partner treats you, and the way your partner actually gives some space for yourself, and also whether your partner is open in communicating their feelings, and how do they respond in communication of your feelings, whether they are kind and supportive and friendly, open to talk. That's more important. So, Journal of Family Issues suggests that a clear and a consistent boundary setting promotes relationship satisfaction and reduces the risk of abuse. Now, to to actually have a healthy dynamic, I'm going to introduce these two terms. You might have actually noticed that earlier I asked to identify the words. These are the two ingredient words that you have to code in your mind to have a healthy relationship. One is humanness and the other one is courage. Yeah. So humanness is the empathy, how your partner is respecting and your feelings and acknowledging your feelings. Kindness, being open and generous, and approachability, easy to talk, and is not doubting or minimizing your feeling. And the other one is the courage, how your partner is bold, assertive, and also having that leadership skills. So, boldness is about willingness to actually take some risk in the relationship and face challenges, mindful of the other partner. And assertive is to stating confidently one's needs and also executing the rights, one's own rights. And leadership is to face the challenging situation and lead themselves and also the other partner in the relationship. So these are the two main ingredients that is very essential in having a healthy relationship and setting healthy boundaries in the relationship. So what happens if these ingredients are imbalanced? Then the relationship has conflicts. Yeah. So I've come across this in one of Shadi Duray's talk about the humanness and courage, and I went in depth into research whether these ingredients are the true ingredients, and loads of research back up this concept. Yeah. And so if there are four zones here, if a person, individual, have two partners, if one of the partners have a low courage and high humanness, what happens in the relationship is more of a pleasing and abusive and feeling very low, not being treated well, because the high humanness gives you a strength to be kind and maintaining a good emotional connection. But because of low courage, you cannot state your rights or the needs assertively to your partner. So that might lead you to put down in your own space that there is no understanding, and due to misunderstanding and miscommunication of the needs, the relationship will have some aggression, passive aggression mostly, and feeling low self-worth. And if you're falling individual falling in a zone of having low courage and low humanness, and this is a place where most of the physical violences happens, where people actually having low courage and low humanness, having a abusive relationship, both people are not understanding each other. And if you're having a falling in a zone of a high courage and low humanness, yes, you have a courage to state your needs. Yes, that's all good, but you lack that connection. You are insensitive to your partner's needs and feelings. So your courage can sometimes lead into aggression and lead to physical abuse. And if you're falling under the I courage and high humanness, and this is a good place to be in, having the balance, high courage and high humanness, where each one respects each other. So a trust can be built and the relation can thrive in a healthy way, more empathetic, kind towards each other. More successful relationships are in challenging times. How partners are kind to each other. That is a testing period of the relationship and test the survival of your relationship. So, how kind you are to each other, how kind you're willing to accept each other. And if you have high courage and high humanness, and that's a good ingredient to for the survival of a healthy relationship. Now, coming back to how to uphold this trusting communication, and the ingredients for that is respecting autonomy, respect, honoring, and acknowledging your partner's freedom and self-determination. And the Journal of Social and Personal Relationship emphasize the importance of autonomy and supportive behavior, like active listening and validating your partner's feeling. And that's very, very important to make the other person feel. Yeah. If you do something big to your partner, your partner, in terms of a material gift, your partner might forget it. But if you make them feel good emotionally, that's what is registered in your emotional brain, which will help your partner to also believe, trust in you, and thrive in that healthy relationship. And in the trusting communication, again, active listening, empathy, and non-violent communication are the key ingredients to maintain that. Yeah. Journal of Family Psychology highlights positive correlation between open communication and relationship satisfaction. So it's very, very crucial that how you display your empathy, your body language, your tone of voice, and how you prioritize your partner's needs and situation. If your partner is going through something at work, do you give them the time to sit and listen to their feelings? If your partner is upset about something with their plan didn't work for the day, are you able to help them, give your time to do for them? So these are all the little things matters for your relationship to survive. And upholding equality. So we're coming to the gender roles here. So how many of you, if you think back, assign in your romantic relationship, like this is a gender role, like taking care of babies is the role of women, not men. How many of you think about that? This is only an example. There are many gender roles there. So you have to have a mutual respect and fairness and cooperation, breaking the boundaries of gender roles, which will help you to share the confidence that you respect your partner and you are there for them at times when they needed your support. And you don't actually undermine yourself by doing certain gender roles which is by society formed or believed as gender roles. Yeah. So journal of marriage and family emphasizes the importance of egalitarian attitudes, which is actually challenging the norms and challenging the gender roles and being open in communication and supportive. So those behaviors are very helpful and supportive in preventing domestic abuse and building a healthy dynamics in the relationship. And other part is recognizing the trauma. As I already said, being open and empathetic to your partner will help your partner to share their feelings, and you recognizing their hurt feelings, whether it is about you or it is from the other people they are hurt. When they are coming to share to you, don't minimize them, don't make them feel that is their fault. Be there for them and validate the emotion without doubting or minimizing. And that is very, very crucial in building the relationship. Yeah. And so if you're not doing that, then there might be signs of hypervigilance or avoidance or emotional dysregulation where there is no healthy connection in your relationship. Journal of traumatic stress highlights the long term effects of trauma, including the post traumatic disorder, depression, and substance abuse. So, if your partner is not supportive or recognizing a trauma, then they are seeking validation outside in one form or the other, in the addictive behaviors or in self destructive or self harming behaviors. So, the other part of the nurture framework is empowering choices. As I earlier mentioned, acknowledging and honoring your partner's choice and having them, believing them that they are worthy of doing it, and also believing in the resilience is more important. And the Journal of Interpersonal Violence here emphasizes the positive impact of empowerment based in interventions on survival, well-being, and recovery. So, when you're talking about empowering the choices, it is very crucial that how well you're providing your time, your active listening, how well you're trusting your partner without minimizing their experiences, and how well you're there to support them if they are needed, and also be open how much support you can offer to them. All those things matters in terms of empowering the choices. Yeah. And also again, to build a healthy relationship. So, looking into the Domestic Abuse Act 2021, it is actually providing, it is 2021 Act provides support to the victims of domestic abuse. And you can see the Act introduces a domestic abuse protection notice and domestic abuse protection orders to support the victims and the children of the victims. And what are the forms of support they can receive is safe accommodation, counseling, and legal assistance, and also to recognize the childcare as children as a victim, and they provide some support for the children in terms of the witness evidences and also support for the living spaces, supportive, safe living spaces for the victim and the children. So, when it comes to how you're going to support your friend or a colleague, when someone is coming to you and talking to you that they have gone through domestic abuse in any form, how would you provide support? Listen without judgment. It applies same principle as the nurture framework. Listen without judgment. Be present and also make sure whether this place is safe and confidential to share those information, and you being engaged in listening to them actively. And empathy over advice. This is very important for open communication and a trusting relationship be built. Yeah. When your friend is actually or a colleague is sharing something about the abuse, you need to be open, listening to them with kindness and not providing unsolicited advice, like telling them, oh, I had a similar experience. Oh, my partner is better than your partner. No comparison. Okay, that is not going to be a healthy dynamics. Yeah. So empathy over advice, validate their feelings. It's very, very important. They are trusting you, they're sharing you, and when they're starting to sharing you, they're already starting to believe and and reside in your trust and confidence. So you need to validate their feelings without minimizing or doubting their experience or feelings. Yeah, so a true engagement is required. Reassure them that you are there for them to support in whatever choices they are going to make in their relationship, and avoid blaming. This particularly focuses on people who went through abuse most of the time, with a low self-esteem and low self-worth, blame themselves for this, for the abusive actions. So make them feel that they are not a person to blame themselves, nothing wrong because of them. So being supportive in that place for your friend or a colleague is very, very important, making them feel valued and respect their emotions. Yeah, as they are already going through a roller coaster of emotions like fear, shame, and lack of validation and embarrassment. So you, as a friend or a colleague, you need to provide them that they are worthy and you are there for them to support. Yeah, and again, don't go back and trigger their traumatic patterns and again, or don't bring up your traumatic patterns or introduce your trauma to them. It is about being very neutral and being listening, and but at the same time being kind and empathetic. Yeah, and your part here is, besides being empathetic and being there, help them with some contacts, professional contacts, where they can actually go and share in a confidential space, or like therapy or any other professional services they might need. And but don't force that on them, but give us an option to consider, so it is their choice then to go ahead with that, and respect their decision. After sharing with you, they're not coming to you to break the relationship. Yeah, they are coming to you to share their emotion, to vent out, to feel supported, to feel validated, and looking out for help. Yeah, if you understand that. But after talking to you, they might decide they want to stay in the relationship. Yeah, they might wanted to work in the relationship further, whatever their choice is. Yeah, as you're not a professional, and a mental health professional, you are a human. So playing the role of a human with the accountability, be there and support the choices whatever they take. And major thing is provide practical support if the person needs some support for going out for shopping, or going out for a bank, or little things like that, practical daily support if you wanted to provide them. And if you're able to provide them, and again, it is your assertiveness to state your needs and identify your rights as well. So provide the practical support which you are able to provide them, and also provide them with some safety contact if there is any kind of physical abuses you have actually identified. So provide them with safety contacts, and that might be supportive for your friend or a colleague. Now, we come to the end of the session. The key takeaways is we have explored the evidence-based strategies of nurture. Yeah, and we have talked through how our mind works, and how we can actually identify the healthy dynamics. What are the unhealthy signs of unhealthy health dynamics? So, having that in mind, by nurturing healthy dynamics, setting boundaries, respecting autonomy, fostering a trusting communication, upholding equality, and recognizing trauma, and empowering choices, you can create a healthy life, a healthy relationship. Yeah, this is very, very key ingredients framework you need to work on. What it involves your self-awareness of your attachment style, your self-awareness of your needs and wants, and your boldness and courage to state to your partner, and at the same time also respect your partner's boldness and courage, and being there for them is, in a one word, being supportive for them, is going to help you to maintain that healthy nurturing relationship. Now, I would like to also provide some support and resources which are available around in UK and in Gloucestershire. As you can see on the slide there, so there is a National Support Service, National Domestic Abuse Helpline, and you can see the number displayed on the screen there, and they provide 24-hour helpline, and you can direct someone, if you're a friend or a colleague, to ask them to reach out to resources. Or if you're a survivor of domestic abuse, you can reach out to these contacts here. And there is Women's Aid, and they also provide support to people who experience domestic abuse. And they also have a live chat, an online directory of local services. And victim support, again, the number displayed on the screen. And so you can, they offer a confidential support as well, so you can knock their doors. And there is a men's advice line, the telephone number is there. And so especially like compared to men and women, men go through a lot of psychological stresses, and which they are not able to open up or even share to their male colleague, as comparative to the rates of women sharing to their women colleague. Yeah. So men's advice line is there. Please do reach out to the helpline if you are a survivor of domestic abuse. And Gloucestershire Domestic Abuse Support Services in Gloucestershire, they provide support to people experiencing domestic abuse, including all the safety plannings, housing support, and recovery programs. And also the Nelson Trust provides support for people who are survivors of domestic abuse, and they also include the recovery services and specialized programs for complex needs. So support is available. It is a matter of time or choices what you make, whether to knock out the support, or you're still feeling helpless in the situation, or you're still working on to build the courage to plan your life. Whatever it is, the choice is yours. And we all have one life, and life is meant to be having a healthy relationship, which is good for our mind and quality of life. So think about it. And here in teletherapies, we offer nurture therapy package, which is a 10-week session where we includes skills training based on the nurture framework. Especially it's a trauma-informed approach and self-assertiveness trainings there. And we include CBT and hypnotherapy to unlearn the patterns, so you can knock on our doors, where we offer the nurture therapy package, reclaim your strength and rebuild your life. So there is a code there to book a 30 minutes one-to-one consultation. Please do scan the code as is displayed on the screen, or you can also visit www.tele-therapies.org, the website, and there is a link for 30 minutes free consultation available. So you can book a free consultation, 30 minutes, and discuss and make a choice whether it is a right package for your situation. And as an offer for those who are attending this workshop, new bonus, for the first 10 enrollments to Nurture program, they would get 30% off. So please go and scan the code, and 30 minutes free one-to-one this consultation with myself, and then we can actually decide whether we can go ahead with the package. I'm just displaying that for a few seconds. Now, and a contact is displayed here on the screen, so we can knock our doors if related to this workshop. If you have any questions or related to your personal situation, how to handle your domestic abuse, and what are the therapy sessions we're offering, if you want to discuss, again, 30 minutes consultation, as I already mentioned, that is available for you, and we are here to support and help. As we are coming close to this workshop, I want to end with a calm mind, so that you are able to make clear decisions in your life, so in this present day and moment. So sit back, relaxed, and we are going to do physiological sigh with our eyes closed. So follow my instructions. Close your eyes. So I hope that you're sitting in your chair, or if you feel comfortable, you can lie down on the ground, and become aware of your breath. And now take a breath through your nose, deep breath through your nose. Another deep breath, and breathe out. We're going to do another one. Breathe in. Another breath in, and breathe out. One more time. Breathe in, another breath in, and breathe out. Now open your eyes and hope that's calmed down with all those information just loaded into your mind. And you have your day here to make a choice whether you are going to knock down our doors or the available resources around in Gloucestershire or nationwide. And it is your choice, and I respect your choices. And so, thanks for your attention and have a great day. And as this is your final workshop, we will be seeing another workshop in August. So I will be giving you some information very soon about that. So have a great day and thank you.